Stop me if this sounds familiar. You smile when you want to scream. You say yes when every fiber of your being wants to say no. You bite your tongue when someone disrespects you, telling yourself you're being the bigger person. Well, I have news for you, and it's going to sting. What you call being nice is actually weakness wearing a mask. And the man who understood this brutal truth better than anyone was Niccolo Machiavelli. Before you click away in offense, ask yourself this. How's that niceness working out for you? Are you respected? Are you getting what you want in life? Or are you constantly being walked over by people who wouldn't hesitate to step on you to get ahead? I'm going to show you why your niceness is actually destroying your life, why Machiavelli was centuries ahead of his time in understanding human nature, and most importantly, how to stop being a victim of your own misguided virtues. This isn't about becoming cruel or heartless. This is about waking up to reality. This is about understanding that in a world full of wolves, being a sheep isn't noble, it's suicide. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who's too nice for their own good. Because the truth I'm about to share won't just wake you up. It might save someone you care about from a lifetime of silent suffering. If you've ever been taken for granted, manipulated, or overlooked, this video could change everything. Let me paint you a picture that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You're in a meeting. Someone takes credit for your idea. Your stomach churns. Your face burns with anger. But what do? You smile. You nod. Maybe you even congratulate them. Later, you tell yourself you were being professional, being nice, taking the high road. But here's what really happened. You were conquered. Without a single sword being drawn, without a single threat being made, you surrender your territory to someone stronger than you, someone who understood what you refused to acknowledge, that life is war, and in war, there are only victors and victims. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." You, my friend, are allowing yourself to be deceived. And the greatest deception is the one you're telling yourself, that your weakness is actually virtue. Think about it. When you're nice to someone who doesn't deserve it, what are you really doing? You're not being virtuous. You're being cowardly. You're choosing the path of least resistance because confrontation makes you uncomfortable. You're prioritizing your temporary comfort over your long-term respect and success. The truth is, most of what we call niceness is just fear dressed up in moral clothing. Fear of confrontation. Fear of being disliked. Fear of having to defend our position. Fear of being seen as the bad guy. But here's the Machiavellian truth that will set you free. It's better to be feared than loved. Not because fear is inherently good, but because respect, real respect, comes from strength, not from being agreeable. Let's dissect this disease of false niceness, because that's what it is, a disease that's eating away at your potential, your respect, and your very soul. Here's the cruel irony. The more you try to please everyone, the less anyone respects you. Think about the people in your life who you truly respect. Are they the ones who always agree with you? The ones who never challenge you? The ones who bend over backwards to make you happy? Of course not. You respect the people who have boundaries, who stand for something, who aren't afraid to disagree with you when they think you're wrong. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Hatred is acquired as much by good works as by evil. The people pleaser thinks that by doing good works, by being nice to everyone, they'll be loved by all. Instead, they're often despised by those they're trying to please and ignored by those they're trying to impress. Here's something that will make your blood boil. The people who preach niceness the loudest are often the ones exploiting it the most ruthlessly. Think about your workplace. Who talks most about team spirit and being supportive? It's usually the managers who demand your overtime without compensation, who expect you to sacrifice your personal time for the good of the team. who guilt-trip you into taking on extra responsibilities without extra pay. They weaponize your niceness against you. They know that by appealing to your desire to be seen as a good person, they can get you to do things that are directly against your own interests. Machiavelli warned us. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar. They're counting on you being part of the vulgar crowd. The crowd that values appearance over substance, that chooses to look good over being effective. And let's address the elephant in the room, the nice guy phenomenon. Whether you're male or female, if you've ever thought, I'm such a good person, why don't people appreciate me? You've fallen into this trap. The nice guy believes that niceness is a currency that should buy him love, respect, and success. When it doesn't, he becomes bitter, resentful, and confused. I did everything right, he thinks. I was nice to everyone. Why am I still alone/unsuccessful/disrespected? The answer is simple and brutal. You weren't being nice. You were being transactional. You were giving niceness, expecting something in return. True strength gives without expectation and takes what it deserves without apology. Machiavelli would have seen right through this. Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, for everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are. The nice guy appears to be selfless, but he's actually the most selfish person in the room, because everything he does is calculated to get something back. Now, let me share with you the wisdom that changed my life and will change yours if you have the courage to embrace it. Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't evil. He wasn't advocating for cruelty for its own sake. He was a realist who understood something that most people are too comfortable to accept. The world is not a fairy tale, and pretending it is will destroy you. Lesson 1. Virtue without power is meaningless. Machiavelli wrote, "The armed prophets have conquered, and the unarmed prophets have been destroyed." Think about every great leader, every person who actually changed the world for the better. Were they nice in the conventional sense? Were they always agreeable, always avoiding conflict, always trying to make everyone happy? Gandhi wasn't nice to the British Empire. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't nice to segregationists. Nelson Mandela wasn't nice to apartheid. They were righteous. But they weren't nice. They understood that sometimes you have to be willing to be the bad guy to serve a greater good. Your niceness isn't serving any greater good. It's just serving your own cowardice. Lesson 2. Respect must be earned, not given. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think respect should be freely given, that everyone deserves to be treated nicely regardless of their behavior. Machiavelli knew better. Men ought either to be well treated or crushed because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones they cannot. Therefore the injury that is to be done to man ought to be of such a kind that one does not stand in fear of revenge. This doesn't mean you should crush people. It means you should understand that half measures in human relationships are often worse than no measures at all. If someone disrespects you and you respond with niceness, you've taught them that disrespecting you has no consequences. You've actually encouraged them to do it again. Lesson 3. The Lion and the Fox. Perhaps Machiavelli's most famous insight. A prince ought to be both a fox and a lion, because a lion cannot defend himself against snares, and a fox cannot defend himself against wolves. The nice person is neither a lion nor a fox. They're sheep, and sheep exist to be devoured. But here's what this really means. You need to be smart enough to see the traps, the fox, and strong enough to deal with direct threats, the lion. Niceness makes you blind to the traps, because you assume everyone has good intentions and weak against the threats, because you're unwilling to fight back. Lesson 4. The necessity of controlled ruthlessness. This is where people misunderstand Machiavelli the most. He's not advocating for constant cruelty. He's advocating for the strategic use of force when necessary. It is much safer to be feared than loved because love is preserved by the link of obligation which owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails. This doesn't mean you should try to make people afraid of you. It means you should be someone who commands respect, someone who others know as boundaries and will enforce them. The nice person thinks they're building relationships through kindness. But relationships built on one-sided kindness aren't relationships. They're dependencies. And dependencies breed resentment, not love. Let me show you exactly how your niceness is destroying your life in ways you probably haven't even realized. In your career, nice people don't get promoted. They get used. They get the extra work, the thankless tasks, the responsibility without the authority. Why? Because their bosses know they won't push back, won't demand what they're worth, won't rock the boat. I've watched countless talented people get passed over for promotions because they were too nice. The promotion went to someone less qualified, but more willing to advocate for themselves, more willing to take credit, more willing to play the game. Your boss doesn't respect your niceness. They exploit it, and they promote the people who remind them more of themselves, the people who understand that business is war, and war requires warriors, not peacekeepers. In your relationships, nice people don't have passionate relationships. They have comfortable ones. And comfort is the enemy of desire. Think about it. What's attractive about someone who agrees with everything you say, who never challenges you, who molds themselves to fit whatever you want them to be? Nothing. It's boring. It's predictable. It's the human equivalent of room temperature water. The people who are desired, who are pursued, who have others fighting for their attention, they have boundaries. They have opinions. They're willing to disagree, to create tension, to risk the relationship for the sake of authenticity. Your niceness isn't making you more lovable. It's making you forgettable in your self-respect. Here's the worst part. Your niceness is destroying your relationship with yourself. Every time you smile when you want to scream, every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you take abuse with a smile, you're betraying yourself. You're teaching yourself that your feelings don't matter, that your boundaries are negotiable, that your respect for yourself is less important than other people's comfort. You're literally training yourself to be weak. And the saddest part? You're not even being truly kind. Real kindness sometimes requires being mean. Real kindness sometimes means telling someone a hard truth they don't want to hear. Real kindness sometimes means setting a boundary that makes someone else uncomfortable. Your false niceness isn't kind. It's selfish. It's choosing your momentary comfort over what's actually best for everyone involved. Now, here's how you transform from a sheep into a lion-fox hybrid. Step 1. Audit your niceness. For the next week, I want you to notice every time you're nice and ask yourself, am I being nice because it's genuinely the right thing to do, or am I being nice because I'm afraid? You'll be shocked at how often it's fear. Fear of confrontation. Fear of being disliked. Fear of having to defend your position. Step 2. Start small. Don't try to become Machiavelli overnight. Start with small acts of self-respect. When someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, try saying, "Let me think about it," instead of immediately saying yes. When someone makes a joke at your expense, don't laugh along. Let the silence hang there. These small acts will start to rewire your brain. You'll begin to see that the world doesn't end when you're not nice. In fact, people often respect you more. Step 3. Embrace strategic selfishness. Machiavelli understood that self-interest isn't evil, it's honest. The person who claims to have no self-interest is either lying or deluded. Start making decisions based on what's best for you, not what makes others most comfortable. This doesn't mean being cruel or inconsiderate. It means being honest about your own needs and priorities. Step 4. Develop your inner lion. The lion represents strength, the willingness to fight when necessary. This means setting clear boundaries and enforcing them, calling out bad behavior instead of ignoring it, standing up for yourself even when it's uncomfortable, being willing to lose relationships that aren't serving you. Step 5. Master the art of controlled aggression. This is perhaps the most important lesson. True power isn't about being aggressive all the time. It's about having the capacity for aggression and the wisdom to use it strategically. When someone crosses your boundaries, your response should be swift, proportional, and memorable. Not cruel, but firm. Not personal, but clear. Here's something beautiful that happens when you stop being fake nice. You become genuinely kind. When you're secure in your own power, when you know you can handle conflict, when you're not desperate for approval, that's when you can afford to be truly generous. Your kindness comes from abundance, not from neediness. The person who's truly strong can afford to be generous because they're not giving from a place of fear or manipulation. They're giving because they choose to, because they can, because they want to, not because they have to. Machiavelli wrote, "Generosity consists not in giving much, but in giving at the right moment." The nice person gives constantly, indiscriminately, desperately. The strong person gives strategically, meaningfully, powerfully. Think about the people you most respect. They're not nice all the time, but when they are kind, it means something. When they give their approval, you feel like you've earned something valuable. When they're generous, you feel genuinely grateful, not entitled. That's the paradox. By becoming less nice, you become more truly good. The world doesn't need more nice people. The world has plenty of nice people. And look where it's gotten us. The world needs more strong people, more honest people, more people who are willing to stand up for what's right even when it's uncomfortable. Machiavelli gave us the blueprint 500 years ago. The question is, do you have the courage to use it? Stop being nice. Start being real. Stop being weak. Start being strategic. Stop being a sheep. Start being the lion you were always meant to be. If this video opened your eyes to something you've been avoiding, hit that like button. And if you're ready to stop being nice and start being powerful, subscribe for more uncomfortable truths. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been too nice for too long, share this video with them. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is wake someone up to their own potential. Let me know in the comments, what's one area of your life where you've been too nice, and how are you going to change it? I read every comment, and I want to hear your transformation stories. Until next time, remember, it's better to be respected than liked, and better to be effective than nice. Now go out there and claim what's yours.